I don't know why I got
We're on.
nervous.
We got
Now that
so
we're
quiet.
recording.
I have like 47 things in front of me because I was feeling really indecisive. But my main thing is I'm doing mangoes. I think is it mango season? It's like the yellow like champagne
like
mangoes or whatever.
Yeah.
So good.
Yes.
So
So
good.
good.
And then I have celery juice in a mug.
Okay.
And then I'm also drinking this. It's like a coffee liqueur. I think you're supposed to mix it. I think you're supposed to make like a espresso martini, but that's what I'm having. And then I'm also having this. I've been on like a candy stint. I'm also having this like cold smart like Swedish fish candy and
What is it called?
elderberry.
Cold.
Kolsvart.
Oh, I was like cold fart.
Koisvart. Cold fart.
Kolsvart. Yeah, but it's like elderberry flavored Swedish fish. It's so good.
Oh,
That sounds so good.
Wow.
Yes. Christine,
That's it?
what are you having? Yeah.
It's like, are you sure there's not more?
That's like a good combo of different things. Celery juice, peaches, mangoes, candy, coffee liqueur. I am at my sister's house right now, so I just raided her pantry. And she has nectar, hard seltzer in mandarin flavor. So I'll give it an open.
Oh. Oh.
Oh my god.
Give it a sip.
That really like went through my body.
It tastes like
They're going to say that really wet.
My bundes. In her pantry, she surprisingly doesn't have that many snacks. So I grabbed the Skinny Pop, which is like no flavor Skinny Pop. And that's what I'm having today. What about you, Christina?
Love it. I am having giant hard kombucha. We've had this a few times on the show, I think. Oh, okay. So that it is passion fruit and elderflower flavored. And then for my snack, which is actually my dinner, I'm having some bibimbap. So, rice, veggies, fried egg, all the good stuff. And I just came from a run, so I'm like starving, I'm like ravenous. So I was like already eating some before we started, to be honest. And that's also why if you're watching the video version, I'm wearing a cap because I didn't have time to shower before filming today or before recording. But I love my cap. It's from We're Not Really Strangers, like their merch store. And it says overthinking. It's like a little cap.
It's so cute.
It's very you.
So cute.
It is me. And, I think maybe this will be my new podcast hat now.
Ooh.
Your thinking cap.
Yeah, it's my thinking cap.
Your overthinking cap.
Yes, exactly. Maybe that's like what it's called on the store. But anyway, I am gonna just walk us through what our topic is today. I'm really excited. We are doing an abbreviated version of the 36 questions that lead to love. And this was something that became popular in 2015. There was a New York Times article posted about it. This person wrote an article about using these questions with like a stranger or an acquaintance, someone she just met, and then she actually went on to marry that person. So that's why it's like, oh, she like actually is living proof of these questions leading to love. But they were developed in the 90s by some psychologists. And it's supposed to be, if two strangers answer these questions, they can develop a connection and maybe fall in love. So we are maybe gonna fall in love tonight or today, whatever time it is you're listening to this. And also, interestingly enough, the questions are organized into 3 sets, and that was not planned. But our plan is not to go through all 36, but in each of our chas, each of our 3 rounds of our episode, we're each going to pick a question and pick someone to answer it. So we'll basically go through like 9 of the questions total and get deeper each round as usual. So with that, why don't we jump into round 1? Yucha.
Cheers.
Yay.
Cheers. Oh, okay. I don't know who should go first. Should we like rock, paper, scissors? Who like picks first?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Should we go rock? This is gonna be interesting virtually. Let's close our eyes and then we'll just like one of us will say kawi pai po and then just like wait for a second and then open our eyes, and then we'll say,
Okay.
we'll like, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My eyes
Okay.
are closed already.
Megan,
Okay.
be the one to say kawi pawi po. Okay, so let's do rock paper or we'll do kawi pawi po, which is the Korean way to say rock paper scissors.
Okay, I'll go.
All right,
Okay.
okay.
Okay. Kawi pawi po.
All right. I did scissors, so I lose. Does that mean I pick first? Because you guys both did rock.
Yeah.
Yeah, do that. Do it that way.
Okay, cool. All
That
right, so
sounds like
I
a
did.
good idea.
I got scissors. The other two got rock. So I'm gonna pick the first question. Ooh, so much pressure. Do I start light? Do I just like dive right in? Dude, there's one of these that like start light. Okay, there's one of these that is like really intense. I'm scared of.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. I'm gonna ask. Actually, I'm curious about this for Christine. Before making a phone call, do you rehearse what you're going to say and why?
Why were you curious about this question?
Because, like, for example, Olivia, shout out Olivia, our
I
number
was
one
just
fan
gonna-
and listener.
yeah.
She like always really needs to rehearse. Like we did room service when we were traveling in Germany, and she was like, we had to like hype her up to call for room service. So I'm just curious where Christine falls on that spectrum.
Wait, there's another Olivia story. Like we went to go get our nails done and we were trying to figure out if like she can bring Champ or not. And so I was like, oh, you should call them. I was like, you should call them. And then after I sent that text, like she was silent for like 10 minutes. So I was like, wait, I can call them. If you want me to call them, I can call them. But she did end up calling, so it was fine. But yes,
goodness.
go Christine.
It depends. It depends on what kind of phone call it is. If it's like to order pizza or to order room service, the answer is no. Just go. Just ask for it.
Yeah, Olivia, just call.
Sorry, Olivia. And then also, like, I remember Olivia called room service and ordered ice cream and got the order entirely wrong after she rehearsed it.
She got really nervous under pressure. We're just totally putting Olivia on blast right now.
Sorry,
Oh my
Oli.
God.
But if it's something that's like a little bit more formal, like a business call or like something that's related to work, then I don't rehearse what I'm going to say, but I have like an agenda of things that I want to talk about. And then so that I don't have to like waste my time or that person's time, and we get what we wanted to achieve out of that call. So yes and no, depends on the context.
Okay. Sounds like generally
Yeah.
no, but if it's like, something you just need more preparation for. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay. Christine, you pick next.
Megan, if you could wake up tomorrow having gained any one quality or ability, what would it be?
Having gained one quality or ability.
She already has everything.
Yeah. In a world where you're not perfectly you.
Yeah.
Okay. I paused for a long time because there's like I was going kind of in two trains of thought. I was one going in like a very practical, like, ooh, what skill would I like have? And then the other thought was like, what like superpower? Like, can I transport into like another world kind of a thing? Because I also just saw Spider-Man and I was like, to
it
go
was so
into
good.
like it's so good to go into like all the dimensions. But which direction should I go? If I could gain one quality or ability, it would probably be like a hard skill that I could just learn overnight. Like I want to learn like Photoshop overnight. I want to learn how to like do animation like overnight. I want to like download it into my brain and then wake
Like
up
the
and I have like a
Matrix.
really cool, like have a really cool hard skill. And it would probably be something like creative. So that would be really fun. Oh, I wish I
Ooh.
could sleep and then wake up and then have like Christina editing skills or something. Like just like boom. Like that would be really cool. And then in terms of like crazy like superhero stuff, like I wish I could slow down time.
Slow down,
But-
not like stop or rewind.
Yeah, because I think slowing down is good enough. Like, I mean, if you stop time or like reverse time, I guess that's kind of gaining a little bit more time too. But
Yeah.
I don't know, slowing it down or adding more hours to the day. That'd be cool.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good
Yeah.
one.
Mine
Yeah.
would be like knowing every single language
That would
in the
be
world.
sick.
Yeah.
That
I would
would
love.
be so sick. Because then you can just
Yeah.
connect to like
Yeah.
literally
Anyone.
anyone.
Yeah, exactly. And you could also know like if people are talking shit about you.
Oh my God, the best. The best.
What about like reading someone's or like knowing what everybody's thinking? Then you could really know what
I don't want to know that
everybody's
shit.
No, I don't want to know.
I don't want to know. That's not my
I
business.
would.
Christine's nosy.
I would have so much fun.
I need to drink more kombucha.
Why?
More hard
These
kombucha.
questions are fun. It's so funny that like we're all reacting to this very differently.
I know. I know.
Christine doesn't have to rehearse what she says, so she doesn't care.
Yeah, truly.
I'm curious, Christina, which one would you not want to be asked, or is like the hardest one for you to answer?
I'll reveal
I know.
afterwards.
Okay. Okay.
Because that's the one I'm going to do.
Yeah.
I'll maybe be a little bit lighter, right? Because it's still
Ilcha. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll ask you this. What would constitute a quote unquote perfect day for you?
Ooh, I think a perfect day, like it would go from early morning to like late night because like I want it all because I like days where I get started early, I like go on a run, maybe go grocery shopping, like that kind of like wholesome, like productive kind of day, go for a walk, but maybe like also do some reading. Basically just want to do everything. But then I also enjoy like a night out, like go to dinner and then go to drinks after and then like bar, club, another club, whatever that meme is. So I think in an ideal perfect day, I would have Megan's power to extend time so that I can enjoy all of that. Maybe like take a nap in the middle of the day. And like, I don't normally take naps, but this nap would be like the perfect nap that doesn't make me feel groggy, but I would be like
Yes.
energized.
Yeah.
And so it'll be like 2 days in one because I'll have had my productive, wholesome
I
morning.
like it.
And then I'll have my like degenerate, like, just having fun at night. And I'll be rested enough to do both. So that would be my perfect
I like
day.
that.
That
I
sounds like a
like
good
that.
day.
That
Mhm.
nap point is so important. Like when you just have that juicy, like perfect 40-minute like nap where it's not like
Mhm.
too much and it's not too little. It's like
Yeah. But
Perfect.
I struggle to find that sweet spot. I just always wake up from a nap like,
Yeah.
ugh. The one that I was scared of was, do you have a secret hunch about how you will die?
Oh
It's
my
just so
God,
morbid.
Yeah, it's pretty
But do you
crazy.
though? Like, do you
I
have
don't have a secret hunch, no. I have like catastrophic thoughts, but it's not like a hunch,
Mm.
Megan, do you?
I do, but I don't want to say.
Oh, scary.
I know. It's like, okay, it's not to like make it serious, but like weirdly,
Uh-huh.
and I think it's because maybe
Have
of,
you ever
like,
vocalized this?
I've never vocalized it ever.
Okay.
But we're
Ever.
vocalizing it on samcha.
Like on the fucking internet. Wow, great idea.
Woo!
Okay, so it's not about like how necessarily, but it's about like when. I feel weirdly, oh my God, I feel like I'm gonna die like young. And I don't know what that means. I don't know.
Mhm.
I don't know if like it's young, like, that's not really maybe the point of it.
Mhm.
But I think it's coming from, and yes, this is on my list to talk to my therapist, but I think it's because of like kind of like my recent health stuff
Mhm.
that is on a different episode, and you guys can check that out. But I
Mhm.
think because of like all of those things, it just makes me more think about mortality a little bit. And so then I think I'm in the camp of don't assume that you're going to live
Mhm.
forever, because I mean, the mortality rate is 100%, right? So like
Yeah.
everyone's gonna die, and then just thinking about like these certain kind of like health things, oh my God, it makes me feel like that's what's gonna happen. But I don't. I'm just saying. I'm just answering the question, but it's. But it's not like something like crazy. The two, if you guys aren't watching this episode, like on YouTube and you're just listening to it, I highly recommend you watch it on YouTube and look at my two co-hosts. Look at their faces and just die. But don't die. But like
You can see Megan just like reeling in.
I know, I'm like, oh my God, oh God.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Oh gosh. Okay.
wow, of course.
That's
this
a
is
crazy
Icha.
question.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know what that's
So much
doing
for
in
Icha.
yeah, I don't know what that's doing in set 1 of these 36
Yeah.
questions, but anyway,
My God.
should we go to round 2?
Yes, please.
Yes.
All right, let's get out of this round.
Cheers.
Okay, I'll ask this, but I also want to add like a second part to it. Okay, so I'm gonna ask the question.
Now I'm getting nervous. These questions. The first set of questions, I was like, oh yeah, these are easy breezy. The second set, I'm like, okay.
So the question is, what is your most terrible memory? And then part 2 is, what did you learn from it?
What is my most terrible memory?
Or it could be a terrible memory. It doesn't have to
That's
be like your most terrible, but
most makes it hard to answer, but yeah.
just
Oh
a
my
terrible
God.
memory and what you learned.
Okay. Good question.
Shit, I know.
I think I thought about this memory like recently because my phone likes to remind me of like good and bad times. You know, like in your photos app, it's
Yeah.
like this is something that happened 1 year ago. And so when I was using my phone a few weeks back, this was when I got COVID. And I was living in New York. This was when the person who I was in a relationship with moved out after a breakup. And I was just isolated alone without like any contact with friends. And so I think that was a time when it was pretty terrible, where I was alone in my thoughts. I was like going back and forth on like if I made the right decision or not. I listened to a lot of like sad music and wrote really sad poems. And it was just like like getting out of a relationship, breaking up with someone you really cared about. That is like a pretty rough experience. And it was a very serious relationship too. When I think about like a terrible memory, it has to deal with not like something that's like catastrophic well, luckily nothing catastrophic has happened to me in my life, but like something catastrophic happened to my heart. And that was what I would say was a very terrible, terrible memory. So yeah, my phone reminded me of that, which I should probably like erase so it doesn't keep reminding me. And then what did I learn from this memory? I learned that I should think more about the types of choices and decisions that I make, instead of kind of like going with my gut intuition, where sometimes that could be misleading. I think that's been something that I'm learning and working on, where a lot of times I leaned on my gut to guide me. And there were times in that relationship when like my gut told me no, but there were times when like it was like a positive, like high five, yes, all around. But I think that in learning how to think more comprehensively about big life decisions, taking my time with these big life decisions without rushing into things, and being more like thoughtful about the types of people that I surround myself with and bring into my life is one big, big, big lesson that I learned, so that hopefully this doesn't happen again.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is my most terrible memory and some things that I learned from it. Great
Thank you
question.
for sharing. Thank you
I
for
can't
sharing
believe
that.
I can't believe it's only slash already been a year since that.
It's been over like a year, because like February was when it started to go like really south.
Yeah.
But it took time to like pull things apart, and that was like the final pull apart was around a few weeks ago. Life is crazy.
Crazy.
Wow. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that.
Glad to share everything. Overshare.
Overshare,
The
overthink.
internet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I am going to look at this list of questions, and I am going to ask Christina a question.
Okay.
But I want to ask her a good one, something that I wish I knew more about.
God. Oh, God.
If a crystal ball could tell you the truth about yourself, your life, the future, or anything else, what would you want to know?
Oh
Mm.
my god.
If a crystal ball could tell you the truth about yourself, your life, the future, or anything else. The
Anything you
first,
wanted to
yeah, the
know.
first thing that comes to mind, but I don't want that to be my answer, but the first thing that comes to
Mm.
mind is like, what do people really think about me? Like, what do my friends, my family, like strangers, like, what do they really think about me? But I don't want that to be my answer because I think that's more of just like, that would like enable my own like self talk and like the overthinking that I do. Cause I think a lot about like, if I just met someone for the first time, it doesn't happen so much with like close friends, but like if I met someone for the first time or I feel like I was awkward in a situation, I like replay it and then I like try to like see it from their perspective to like see how they saw me, blah, blah, blah.
Mm.
So if a crystal ball told me that, it would be nice and save me all that overthinking. But I think that would just like enable me to like want to know that. And I think I don't need to know that. So that's like the first thought. But what I actually would want to know, I'm curious just like what my family will be like if I have kids and like how many and like I'm just kind of curious about that. Not for like
Mm.
any deep reason, but I it would be interesting to know like am I going to have kids? Is it going to be I guess I want to know like if it will be like easy or hard to have kids also. Like
Mm,
I guess like I could go to a doctor for that, but
Mm.
if I did have a crystal ball it could tell me instantly. So, yeah, I'd be curious about that and yeah, just like foresee like what my family that, I build would look like.
that's a good one to know.
Mhm.
Cause,
Mhm.
cause you could go to a doctor and ask, but like, yeah, there's like, fertility testing and stuff and like the science behind it. But like sometimes, it's like
Yeah.
maybe not as accurate or whatever.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
and just because like, oh, you're super fertile doesn't necessarily mean you're gonna have like
That's
18
true.
kids, right? So like
Mhm.
Yeah.
what's,
Yeah.
what is that gonna look like? That's
Yeah.
Mhm.
interesting.
Mhm. Was
And
that
it's
a
also like,
satisfactory answer, Christine?
yeah, I think so. I feel like it could have that the answers could have gone like in so many
So
different
many.
directions, but
Mhm.
that sounds like something that's like most top of mind to you right now. And so it's
Mhm.
good to know like, that's where you're at in
Yeah.
terms of what you're most
Yeah.
curious about. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, I'm curious too.
I I'm curious
No,
to
I
know
mean,
like
I'm curious to know Christina's.
Yeah.
like it's not like how many kids you're gonna have or like what gender or like when, but I'm curious to know like out of both you and Dane, like all of the dynamics that you have, like what kind of beautiful child will you produce? Like
Yeah.
what will their personalities and quirks be like? That's
Yeah.
that's
Oh
what
my
I'm like
god.
really, really curious about. Yeah.
They're gonna be so
Mhm.
weird.
They're gonna be so fun.
They're
I
gonna be
can't wait.
Oh
so
my
weird.
god.
All right. Okay, so I guess I'm asking Megan the final question for this round.
Oh my
Um,
god, I'm so nervous.
dude, there is one that like I don't want to. I'll
What?
tell you after which
Okay.
one. Um,
Yeah.
That's
Don't
the
choose
wild
the
card
one.
question.
Yeah.
okay, what about okay, okay. I like this one. What is the greatest accomplishment of your life?
I keep my brain like literally splits into left and right every I mean, there's only been two questions, but even
Such a
when you
Libra.
all I know. Oh my God, you're so right. It splits into these two kind of different places. Like I think about like a very, again, kind of like a more maybe surface accomplishment that I feel, and then maybe like a more internal accomplishment that I feel. And so I'll just share both, I guess. Like the two things that kind of popped out, and I like the way you answered that, Christina, earlier, because it's like there's something that like immediately kind of pops out, and then there's maybe like another thought that I'm trying to like cover the original thought with. Anyway,
Hmm.
so I would say, kind of on the surface, I think something that I feel like is an accomplishment is kind of like my knowing and my like love for older people. This is like, so this is actually, this came up today at lunch because I was having lunch with two of my coworkers, one current coworker and one ex-coworker, but we still keep in touch. And as I was like, as we were talking about work, and as we were talking about like, as we were complaining about work, like, you know, and all of these things, there's like one very steadfast kind of thing that I know for sure, and it's that I want to work with older people. And I feel accomplished in kind of knowing that, and knowing that that's like the demographic of people that I want to serve, hopefully for the rest of my life in some capacity. So I feel grateful and kind of accomplished in that sense. Internally, the greatest accomplishment, I think the first thing I thought about maybe was like connection. And I think I've talked about this in like a different episode too, but like I do feel, and I also keep using the word grateful because I think grateful, I'm using grateful and accomplishment in kind of interchangeably, but I'm really grateful and feel accomplished in like the way that maybe like I connect with to people in kind of different capacities. And I guess I'm grateful, I feel accomplished, I'm proud kind of that sort of
Yeah.
like connection I can have with folks.
I was
So
gonna
yeah.
say that's like stuff you should feel proud of. So like, yeah, you took that proud word out of my mouth. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. So
Mm.
yeah. Yeah. So those are my two.
I love
That's like
those.
Yeah.
You're like so
when
consistent.
yes.
So
And it's my
reliable.
Libra-ness.
Like balancing
Libra-ness.
it out. I think that is a really big accomplishment, like just to know what you want to do. And like, you know, the actual job might change, but like knowing like that you want to work with a certain group of people, I think that is a big accomplishment because a lot of people are like still like are always trying to figure out like what they want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's, yeah, that's so true. And then the connection thing, I think I mentioned in another episode too, of like how one of the things Dane had said about you was like you're
Oh
really
yeah.
good at like talking to people and like connecting and like one on one. So totally rings true for me.
Yes.
I was like, because there's this other question in set two that says, if you knew that in 1 year you would die suddenly, would you change anything about the way you're now living?
All the death questions.
I know.
I know. Oh my god. You can't handle it.
Yeah, but that would have just.
Does anyone
yeah.
want to answer that or no?
Oh my god.
I would definitely change the way I'm living if I knew I would die in a year. But now, would I be healthy or would I just like not give a shit because I'm gonna die in a year?
Right. Right.
I would probably like quit my job
Oh,
and just like
wait.
do other things. Yeah.
So this question, I think what's interesting is not necessarily this first part of the question, but it's that second question,
The why.
which is the why.
Mm-hmm.
So the question is, if you knew that in a year you would die suddenly, would you change anything about the way you are now living? And then why? So that's like
kind of judgy. Like,
yeah, it's like, then why aren't you doing it now?
Why aren't you living?
Exactly, exactly. But it's also kind of like, it's true.
Yeah.
I mean, but I would say exactly the same thing. I'd be like, I'd quit my job immediately and I would
Yeah.
travel the world. But it's like, shouldn't you do that now? But then also we have
But no.
responsibilities.
Yeah, we have responsibilities and we might
Yeah.
live for
Why?
the next,
Why do you have
60 years.
responsibilities?
So, we could very
Yeah.
well live for many more decades. We need to
Too
plan
much,
ahead.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Can't
Why?
trick us. Stupid questions. Well, that was round
Okay.
2. Let's go to round 3.
Cheers.
Cheers.
This really tastes like
Good.
you know those like beers with like a little like orange peel?
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Oh.
That's what this tastes
Yum.
like. And kind of like diluted.
Yeah.
That's such a pretty label.
And a lot of the round 3 questions are like, obviously, like these questions are supposed to be between 2 people. So some of the questions we can like adapt it if we need to.
To the 3 of us. Because we're a
We're a
throuple.
throuple, yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, I like this question. I want
Mhm.
to know this about you. If you're going to become close friends with us, or like if you were to choose to become close friends with someone, please share what's important for that person to know.
Mm.
So if I was gonna become really close friends with Christina and with Christine,
Mm-hmm.
share what would be important for you two to know about
Mhm.
me.
Mhm.
I
Ignoring the
mean,
fact that
this
we
is
already are close friends,
I
but
know, yeah.
A brand new
I
person.
yeah.
yeah. I think you guys know this about me already, but I guess it's like kind of good to share. And also, this is something that I'm like actually actively working on now. So I think this is like
Mm.
perfect. Wow, serendipity, but a great question. So I think something that is important for like you two as like two of my closest friends to know is that I like when there's a problem, I don't reach out.
Mm.
I don't
Mm.
call on my community when shit is bad. I only call on my community when shit's good. And so like I think I'm actively going to try a lot more to reach out to my circle, like my care circle of like friends and family when I do need someone to like sit in the mud with. I was just listening to this podcast and it's Simon Sinek and he's on this podcast and he's like talking about different things, but he uses the term like sit in the mud, like when you're just like
Mm.
going through some shit.
Mm.
So like when I'm going through some shit, like it's hard for me to like reach out. So like I'm gonna do that often. I'm going to try to. But I think the bigger message is that when I do reach out and I am stuck in the mud, I would love for you two to like come and sit in the mud with me. So it's not
Mm.
necessarily like fixing anything. It's not necessarily, being positive about the silver lining. It's not necessarily like, oh, but you'll be fine, which I know I will be. Like I will be fine. But
Mm.
sometimes I just need someone to like sit in the dirt with me and sit in the mud with me and just like listen and just like just be get dirty with me. So I think that's what I would want you two to know,
Mm.
kind of just like now and for the future.
Mm.
This is so weird speaking
Yeah.
about it in that way because obviously we know each other, but yeah, I think that's something that I wanted to share with you too.
Oh, thank you for
I
letting
love
us
that.
know. Are you the
Yeah.
type of person? I talked about this with another friend of like, I think I'm similar in that I don't like actively reach out when I need help or someone to sit in the mud with me. But then are you the type of person where if someone asks about something or like then you'll be like open to share or like are you still kind of more distant or closed off? Because I
I
think there could be
think
people who like even if someone asks they like don't want to share.
yeah. No, I think I'm totally game to share, especially if it's like like a one-on-one or a two-on-one or like it's a
Yeah, yeah,
small
yeah.
group of people that I really feel safe with and trust. Like I'm totally down to share like spitball or against it in the mud, play in the mud with.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think that it is good. I think I know where you're going with it because it's like, oh, maybe like you could call me and be like, oh, how are you doing or whatever.
Yeah, like is
But
that
yeah.
helpful? Is it helpful to like maybe it's also is it helpful to hear just like how others are doing versus like being asked how you're doing and that kind of opens it up like for you to feel more comfortable or because I'm
Um,
kind of thinking from my perspective because
yeah.
I'll share like where I'm coming from with this is like
Mm.
I also don't like tend to like reach out actively but then if someone else is like if someone asks me about something specifically like I'm more than willing to be open. Or like if they're like sharing stuff with me, like then I also feel like more inclined to open up as well, because then I feel less of a burden almost, because it's like
Yeah,
together.
yeah.
So that's, I'm kind of coming from, that's how like my preferences are. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, I totally get what you're saying. I don't necessarily think so because I think I'm pretty like I'm pretty open to sharing, but I think it does
Mm.
come from the same vein of like everyone's just so busy,
Mm.
you know, and like
Mm,
everyone's going through something. Like there's just always something going on. And
mm,
I think the older I get, the more I realize like people are going through some shit. Like, and it doesn't have to be like really serious or whatever, but like, so like some people are going through some really serious stuff. Some people aren't, but everyone's going through something. And
mhm,
so I think I come from a place where like I don't necessarily want to burden others with like some of my shit, and so like I think that's kind of where I'm coming
Mm.
from. But if you but if anyone reached out to me and was like, hey, like unpack your shit, but it's also not the other person's job, right? It's
Yeah.
not the other person's
mm,
job to ask me to
Yeah.
unpack some stuff. It's like if I need more support, which I think everyone does,
yeah,
to reach out and be like, hey, do you have, 10 minutes to like sit in the mud with me? I
Yeah.
think like I
yeah,
just need to be better at doing that because I know you two are definitely people that I can do that with, but I just don't,
It's that
it's like
personal.
harder for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
yeah,
like harder for me to do that. And like I tend to like sit with things kind of alone and by myself. And there are, times when that's necessary, but
Yeah.
I do feel like I need to get in a better habit of just connecting kind of in that way.
Mm.
yeah. I think like that's really great that like you even recognize that because some people just don't know like how to even acknowledge that it would be
Mm,
nice to have company. Like that person's not
Mm.
going to solve your problems, but to acknowledge that you're not alone and someone is going to sit with you and that you're reaching out for help to say in the sense I need help in not feeling too alone in a certain situation.
mm,
And like on the receiving end of that, like I would gladly sit in the mud with
Mhm.
anyone like that I love.
yeah.
I can't fix your problems, but I can just sit there with you and then
Yeah.
also like watch you grow or watch you process it. But I think that in itself is like someone asking for help is like a gift to me in that like I can
Mhm.
give to you. Um, so just saying, like
Yeah.
if
Just like
you
invite us
ever,
into your mud pile.
yeah, let's get nice
Let's
and
get
muddy and dirty.
dirty.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cuz that's life. That's like I think that's what makes friendships like beautiful.
Mhm.
And that's like the aspects of friendship that I appreciate the most too. Is when
Yeah.
people
Mhm.
are like vulnerable to ask for help
Yeah.
and want my help too. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay.
To
I
sitting in
love
the
that
mud
question.
together.
Yeah. Yeah, to
Yeah.
sitting in the
Cheers.
mud. It looks like I'm
Maybe
drinking mud water is what I'm
Yeah.
doing.
maybe that's what we'll call like samcha 2.0, sitting in the mud.
Sitting in the mud.
Just sit in the mud
Just
together.
sitting in the
Oh.
mud. Come from our individual mud
Okay.
piles into one.
Mhm. Like big muddy goop.
Massive.
Yeah.
Both of you this question,
Hmm.
Ooh.
which is question 25. Make three or just one each, maybe. Make one true quote unquote we statements each. So, for instance, quote, we are both or we are all in this room feeling dot, dot, dot. Any sort of we
Mm.
statement that comes to mind. This is like very non-specific, but
Mhm.
let's see the direction it
Mm.
goes in.
Mhm.
I think we, Samcha, the three of us, me, Megan, and Christina, are feeling very grateful for meaningful friendships and
Mm.
that we have found each other and have given each other this like wonderful gift of a grounded, authentic, meaningful friendship where we can be ourselves with each other and have these types of conversations.
How beautiful. Oh, cheers to that.
Cheers.
I agree with that we statement. Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Megan's like, maybe.
Megan's like, I don't know. I was going to say I would like add on to Christine's. It's like, we're really, we're grateful we have this space to like share, like both on samcha, but also like offline of samcha. But I think we still have like so many, I think not so many, but I think there's still like more to be discovered about each other and our personalities and our like histories and all of that. Like, I think we know a lot, but I think there's still more to be found, which is like very exciting, I think, in a way, because it's like we'll just like keep learning about each other and like it'll like keep building on top of like what we already know, and like we can like be like in that way then we're like better equipped to be in the mud when we like learn about things that are going on that we didn't know. So that is my answer. Oh, are we in love?
Yeah.
We're absolutely in love.
So in love.
I mean, I definitely can
No
see
other
how
way.
if you went through all 36 questions, like you would just really feel closer to a person, especially if it's an
Yeah.
acquaintance and it's like you would learn about their like family life, you learn about like their desires, some of these like deep questions about death, like philosophical things. So
Yeah. And you would learn how deep they're willing to go. So like you can like sit in the discomfort and see like, oh, okay, are they willing to be kind of uncomfortable and are they okay with that? Or like, are they just like, I need out of this game immediately. This game. Yeah. Very interesting.
That was fun, but also it wasn't fun.
It's fun, but like a little scary.
It was fun for our audience. I mean, anything for the samcha gang.
For the content. No, but like it was scary and we are like, we know each other. Can you imagine answering those questions to someone you barely know?
I know. Or like maybe someone you like and that you maybe are like
got a crush
really
on
interested
them.
in or whatever. Yeah. Oh my goodness.
I wonder if some people like fall out of love with these questions.
Fall out of love?
Maybe. Yeah, I could see that. Because this would be like a litmus test for like, maybe you want someone that can answer some of these questions, or even if they don't have the answer to it, like they're willing to like go there, But like maybe you find out early on, like, oh, they're not willing to really go there, and then you're like, okay, well then fuck you.
Or it's like,
like,
or they do go there, but it's just like, oh, like the way you think is not compatible to like the way I think.
Yeah.
Yes. Exactly.
I did this with.
Oh, you did? Fuck.
You did?
I did.
I had no idea.
The thing is, I was like, I really want to ask, like, because you, like, when you're with someone, you probably want to run this exercise with Sean and Dane, right?
For sure.
But I asked for us to do this, and he, like, lost his patience. Like, 36 questions was way too many. So I think we got through, like, 4, and then it was like, no more.
It's like,
the person has to like want to do it. The person has to have the patience to do it. Like the person has to be like grounded and have a sense of understanding that like this is like a meaningful exercise. Yeah, but those questions did not lead to love. It led to impatience.
It should be like
it's
a fill in the blank,
everyone.
Like 36 questions that lead to, and then you can answer it once you've done it.
The ick.
Yeah. Thank you for listening. Find us at Samcha Podcast everywhere. We're going to just keep bugging you to email us and DM us and find us online.
Yeah. So. Like, I feel like we're talking to each other, but like, I also want to talk to you who's listening. So be bold and brave, and you don't have to script anything to talk to us. Just like reach out to us.
You don't need to rehearse.
Yeah, Olivia, you don't need to rehearse. Like, just talk to us because we're talking all the time, but we want to talk to you too.
Yeah.
So DM
ask us some
please.
questions, like, and we'll give
or answer some of these,
answer these questions. Yeah. Just talk to us, please.
Yeah. Now, this is the call to action.
Right now,
Reach
open
out.
up your phone. You're already on your phone because you're listening to this podcast. Go find us. Reach out to us. This is where the music
Say
fades
something.
Yeah. Cheers, guys.
in. Cheers. Bye.
Cheers. Bye.